Welcome to week 2 of the How to Live by Design in 90 Days challenge. I'm Angelo Zerziaris, and I'd love to know, how did you go with looking over the 7-step system for accelerated results? It really is a simple structure for success, don't you agree? But remember, it's not in the knowing, it's in the doing that matters. So let's take the first step. Let's discuss our priorities. Now, I'm not talking about what's on your to-do list. That may be really important for today, but is it really the most important thing in your life right now? Now, don't get me wrong, I am the list king. I love making a good list. In fact, my friends make a lot of fun about it. My best man even ridiculed me in front of all my family and friends in his speech at my wedding. So I make a good list. But even though our to-do list may make us more efficient today, does it really make us more effective in the long run? When I think about my priorities, the key question that I ask is this: what keeps me up at night? And so I ask you, what keeps you up at night? Is it the garbage that you forgot to put out? Or unloading the dishwasher? Or is it the TV show that you missed? Or the Grace Brothers sale that you couldn't get to? Or was it the fact that you forgot to return an email or a Facebook message? Are these things keeping you up at night? They may be on your to-do list, but I don't think they're keeping you up at night, or maybe not for more than one night anyway. Is what's keeping you up at night more likely to be the bad back that you've suffered long enough and done little about? Or perhaps the fact that you can't fit into your favourite jeans or favourite clothes and you can't remember when the last time you did was? Or is it the fact that your work stress is continuing to grow, and the longer and harder you work, the less chance you see light at the end of the tunnel? Or is it the fact that you just don't have the quality time with family and friends that you really want? Or is it the fact that you haven't read a book since high school and you're starting to think the same way, or the same way as your parents, but not in a good way? Or is it the fact that you know you could and should be contributing more to others and your community, and even to your own legacy, but you just haven't got around to it yet? Well, those things may not be keeping you up at night right now, but I know they did keep me up at night a couple of years ago. If you've read some of my personal blogs, you probably have my view on keeping busy for busy's sake. Being busy sometimes just gets in the way of what's really important. And so, where did I start? I got clear on my priorities. I went at it with a no excuse mentality. I was no longer going to sacrifice or let anything else get in the way of what was truly important. And that's why I've put it as the first step in the 7-step system. Now, Live by Design as a name for my business is no accident and no coincidence, because the first thing I did was stop and design my dream life and dream lifestyle. So how do we go about designing the outcome that we want? I look at Stephen Covey, who wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and what he had to say: begin with the end in mind. Because when you do that, you save so much time and so much energy. And that's what I want more of. More time and more energy. Let me quote a passage from Stephen Covey's infamous work, which really gives you more detail. By keeping the end in mind, you can make certain that whatever you do on any particular day does not violate the criteria you have defined as supremely important, and that each day of your life contributes in a meaningful way to the vision you have of your life as a whole. To begin with the end in mind means to start with a clear understanding of your destination. It means to know where you're going so that you better understand where you are right now, and so that the steps you take are always in the right direction. We may be very busy, we may be very efficient, but we will also be truly effective only when we begin with the end in mind. 7 Habits. Fantastic read for anyone out there. So how do we begin with the end in mind? How do we get our house in order? And you may have noticed that I love using the house analogy, and it's absolutely true. Because the way I see it is that our most valuable possessions are generally under our roof. And that we know when we've got all of that in order, that we sleep well at night. And so when you look at your worksheet for this week, it's in the shape of a house. Or more accurately, it's a pentagon with 5 sides. Actually, every pentagon has 5 sides, but you know what I mean. So this week, your challenge is to come up with your top 5 priorities. And that's what the 90 Days Challenge is all about. It's about achieving success in these 5 areas for you. No excuses, because everybody deserves the right to have a good night's sleep every night. Now, I've had the question come to me that 90 days is not a long time. And so I suggest that if you believe that your top 3 or 4 priorities is where you really want to focus during this 90 days, that's fantastic. I suggest not any more than 5 top priorities, because you have to learn that sacrifice and saying no to things is key to your success for making sure that you do achieve on the things that are most important to you. So let's aim for top 5 maximum. And I thought it might be useful to provide an example of some priorities. And since I'm doing the 90-day challenge myself, I will share with you what my top 5 priority areas are. And feel free, if you're getting stuck in completing this exercise, borrow one of mine. There's no need to reinvent the wheel if it makes sense for you. What comes the weeks after this becomes your own creation. So go for it. So here are my top 5 priorities. Number 1, health and fitness. Number 2, family and friends. Number 3, career and money. Number 4, education and personal development. And number 5, community. Now, if you have something such as spirituality or anything specific that you feel needs your attention in this 90 days, that doesn't get covered by one of your other priorities, well, make sure you assign space for it and allocate appropriate importance to it. So it's your house, it's your life, design it the way you want it to turn out. Now, I thought I'd touch upon a little bit about what we'll be talking next week, which is values, and the difference between priorities and values, because sometimes people mistake a priority for a value. Now, sometimes it is true. Health can be both a priority and a value, but family is a priority, but it's not a value. The way I describe the difference between a priority and a value is simply to ask these 2 questions. A priority is what is important to me. A value is what that gives to me. And so when I look at family as a priority, what it gives me is love. So love is the value for that priority. Fitness, what does it give to me? Energy and vitality. And so energy and vitality are values assigned to that priority. But we'll go into a lot more detail about values next week, and I'll share with you some online resources that if you've never researched or thought about your own values, it'll make it a lot easier to determine what your top values are and how to prioritize them. So stay tuned for that. So this week, enjoy coming up with your top 5 priorities. It'll set the scene for the weeks ahead. And I look forward to having a chat with you again next week. Have an inspirational week. Cheers.